Hey guys, I'm back. I really liked how Friday's talk, I guess, went, and I want to stick to my word. So here I am. It is Monday, 5:13. Again, I just got out of the office. I had a pretty useful comment on the YouTube video to put my phone sideways so you wouldn't see the whole black like side thing on the screen. So I tried it out, but you could like hardly see me, so sorry to who made that comment. I'm gonna disappoint you on this one, but we're going vertical again until I can figure something out. But yeah, I was happy with how the first one went, and it wasn't bad at all, as I kind of thought, editing the video, at least for YouTube. TikTok was a little bit more of a challenge, again, because I'm not savvy whatsoever in that field yet, at least. So it took a little bit of time and sprinkle of frustration, apologies, to get through it, but we did. Came out pretty good. So hopefully it'll be even better from here. Any other updates? Not that I'm thinking of right now. So yeah, it was kind of funny. I woke up this morning and I was already kind of thinking about what I would talk to you guys about. And it so happened that something actually pretty interesting happened on my drive to work this morning that called destiny or whatever, I don't know, but I thought it'd be pretty good to talk about. So I'll do my best to tell you guys this story. Hopefully I do a good job at it, but so this morning I was on my way to work. Again, I don't live too far, and I like to get to work early, just so I'm not in any sort of rush whatsoever, because I just don't personally like that kind of stuff. But I was on my way to work, and before I got on the highways, I was on the local roads, and I'm just driving as, you know, literally just having a perfectly normal morning, doing what I have always been doing for since I've been working. And I'm driving on this road, and it's me, and there's like a car or two in front of me and a car or two behind me, and again, just doing my own thing. And I'm driving, and on this sidewalk is just a random dog just trotting down the sidewalk. I'm driving this way, and the dog's coming at me that way. So I drive past this dog, and I'm like, huh. And then I'm kind of looking for the owner, like, because the dog wasn't on like a leash or anything. So I'm like, huh, like, dog just trotting down the sidewalk, like unleashed. I'm like, huh, like, where's the owner? And I'm driving, and you know, a few seconds pass, and there's no owner. I'm like, huh. And you know, it doesn't take me too long to realize that I don't want to say definitely, but probably wasn't a stray dog. There's really none of them in the area that I live. So I'm like, oh man, like, that's a lost dog. And honestly, I kept driving for a little bit. I'm not exactly proud of it, but I kept driving for a couple seconds, and then some, I guess, internal dialogue started creeping up in my head. Kind of asking me, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, that's a lost dog, most likely. Like, and you know, I have a dog too, so thoughts of like how I would feel if that was my dog and someone wasn't helping, those thoughts started creeping in, and I'm like, yeah, like, kind of similar to the whole pink shirt thing. I was like, what am I doing? So I turn around on the next street that I can, and I head back into the neighborhood where I saw the dog, and I'm driving up and down the roads, and what was also going through my mind was like, honestly, kind of like selfish thoughts, like, you're going out of your way, like, what if you hit traffic and then something happens and you're late for work and you gotta explain it, like, all it was weird. There was like a devil and an angel on my shoulder in a way. But I decided, I guess, to listen to the angel, and I turned around and I'm driving down the roads. I'm looking for this dog. I saw, like, the general direction it was heading, so I'm looking for the dog and I'm having trouble finding it. And there's like a few people out on the road just walking their dog, and then so like I stopped next to him and I'm just like, hey, like you have a second? Just wanted to let you know that I saw like what I think is a lost dog, like, going that way. It was like just in this neighborhood. Like, it's not my dog. I just I'm trying to do a good thing, I guess. And talked to a few people and they said that they'll keep an eye out. But unfortunately I wasn't able to find the dog, and it honestly kind of bothered me for a little bit. I really like to think that the dog was found, that I guess there's better people than me who didn't hesitate to take action and find the dog and who it belonged to, and have a whole happy ending to the story. But yeah, it was kind of something that didn't sit right with me for a little bit on my way to work. I'm good now. Don't worry about me. I'm all good now. But kind of similar to the last story, I think that there's a decent lesson that you can learn from my failure, right? And that's kind of why I'm telling this, is because I messed up, and I think that it's a good opportunity that even though it didn't work out for me, it can't work out for other people too. Sorry, I'm concentrating, but yeah, I think the little moral of the story is that if you have an opportunity to help someone or something and do some good, you should. It's kind of similar to, and it just crossed my mind now, that that's kind of how I ended the last video, was if you can do something good, you should. But I like this one. I don't like how reality went for me, but I like the lesson behind this one, that I was the only one in that line of cars that made the decision to stop, turn around, go out of my way. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but just stop, turn around, and go out of my way to drive through all these roads and eat up time and gas, I guess, but to do something good, something that was very unselfish, going out of my way to do good, and it put me in a slightly worse spot, but I think moments like that are kind of meaningful, and whether you succeed or not, the effort and the fact that you still attempted and tried to do something good, and you went out of your way and honestly kind of put yourself in a little more trouble trying to help others and do good. I think that's a good thing to do. It's a genuinely good thing to do. So I think that's a good lesson to learn. Again, I really hope that the dog was found. There's really no way of knowing. I guess the only way to know is if I see the dog again, right? On my drive to work or anything, but I failed, and I'm telling you guys about it. So I'm not saying that you guys are gonna find a lost dog tomorrow or anything, but that lesson learned, that you shouldn't wait to help. You should try to help on the first opportunity that you get. And you know, you can take it a little deeper, and you can play a little devil's advocate and ask me, you know, well, if all I'm doing is helping others and I'm not helping myself, then is it, you know, really worth it? And for me, I think a general answer to that is it's a balance. It's a dichotomy between the two. Because I do think it's true that there are people pleasers out there that all they do and all they care about and worry about is helping other people, which is good, you know, but they're putting so much emphasis on helping others and pleasing others and making others happy that they're not putting that same effort and intention into themselves as well. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you can have people that, you know, all they want to do is whatever's best for them and in their best interest, and take the most care of themselves. And, you know, they get so far into that spectrum that they start to seem and maybe become a selfish person, where they avoid helping others because, you know, they care that much about themselves and their well-being or any of that stuff. So I think it's something that you have to balance in your life, between helping yourself and helping others. And I think that if someone can get to the point in their life where they've made a lot of progress in taking care of themselves and loving themselves, that by the time they do get into helping others and going out of their way and being selfless, then it makes it even more meaningful to them, and it makes them love themselves even more. So it's kind of like stepping stones in a way. Like you have to progress in loving yourself, and then you have to progress into loving others. And then once you get to like a certain point, I guess I gotta stop saying I guess, but once you get to a certain point, when you do either or, it almost raises both bars, which I don't know, that makes sense in my head. I hope I'm explaining in a way that makes sense in yours, but that's just how I feel about it. So yeah, hopefully I fell so you guys can fly with this whole thing. I'm currently sitting in a lot of traffic, and it's starting to make me realize that I might have to do a lot more yapping than I did in the last video, which for TikTok might be a challenge, because what I wanted to do was take the YouTube video ended up being like 26 minutes long, and I was hoping I could just chop up the TikTok video into like 30 seconds. The exact opposite happened. It turned out to be like almost 7 minutes long, but I didn't want to take anything else out of the video, because it kind of reminded me of taking like a huge rough draft paper that's like, say, like 10 pages long, and then the final paper has to be like 3, you know. And I took out a bunch, but all the stuff that I kept in, I felt like it was very, I liked it a lot what I kept in, you know. And there's this quote that I heard a while back, and these guys were talking about when they were writing a book. And when you write a book, this is totally off topic, by the way, but when you write a book, you write a bunch, and then throughout the whole editing and publication process, a lot has to get taken out and edited down and really cut from the final version of the book. And they're saying how when they were taking out chapters, and they almost had to, like, they're getting down to the point where they only have to take out like 1 or 2 more chapters, say, for the book. And they said that they like asked their audience that they were writing for, whether it be on like social media or whatever platform that they were on, that gave them the audience to write a book. And so they were talking to their audience of, hey, what do you think I should keep? What should I take out? And they said that if there was a million people that said take out this chapter, and there was only one person that said this was my favorite chapter, keep it in, this is the same chapter, they would keep the chapter. So that's kind of was my mentality towards making that TikTok. Was I think if I really wanted to, I could have maybe halved it, made it within 3 minutes, but the points that I kept in, even though they weren't, I guess, the most related to the core topic of what I was trying to get down to, what was going in my mind was, if this one 2-second clip of me saying something a little off topic, if that really connected with someone, then it's worth keeping in. So that's what I did, and who knows what I'll do with editing this next TikTok video, but that's what I did. This also reminds me that I listened a lot back to the YouTube video, in the whole editing process, and I realized, I mentioned it earlier, but I realized that I said I guess a lot, and I also said and I said a lot, and I said right a lot. So I'm not trying to make myself self-conscious about it, but trying to avoid it a little bit, because it did, I guess, get a little repetitive. I just said a guess again, but there you go. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to yap a little more. A lot of it might be about totally nothing, because I'm currently caught in traffic still, but yeah, this can, I guess, transition me into another interesting thing that happened today. I had to call someone on the phone during work, like a tech support person, to assist me with something related to work. And I called the person. Going into the phone call, it was something that was brand new to me, and I really wasn't sure of what I was doing, or even trying to look at when I was getting ready to communicate with this person. So I called them, and I was being a complete bonehead, but I called them, and I'm asking for their help, and they're asking me questions and telling me what to do, and they're asking me these questions, and I don't know how to answer them, so I'm answering their questions with my own questions, and it's really all this stuff that I'm sure that all the tech support people that answer phone calls all day, that they really hate when they get customers like me, pretty much. So yeah, when I first got on the phone, and I think the lady picked up the vibe right away that I had no idea what I was doing, and I was going to be difficult to deal with, to help me out with what I needed help with. So when the phone call started, she was a little snappy, a little impatient towards me, and it doesn't take someone being face to face with you for you to kind of pick up that vibe. I think especially people in say my generation have kind of a natural instinct, intuitive, a sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, to kind of pick up on social cues and that kind of stuff from even things such as phone calls. You can probably picture how the person's face is, or what they're thinking when they're talking with you, or I don't know. But yeah, so I'm talking with this lady, and she seems very impatient with me and very snappy with me at first, and I pick up that vibe, and I'm like, all right, well, I would like to make her have a little more enjoyable of an experience talking with me. So what I did, and it was a little bit of an experiment, was even though I had no idea what she was talking about in some parts or anything like that, sorry, I'm in and out of concentration right now, but even though I couldn't really help her out as much as she had probably wanted me to, I was never snappy or impatient or unpleasant towards her in response to her being that way at first to me. I answered her questions to the best of my ability in the most kind manner and attitude possible, and just tried to be as pleasant of a customer and patient and understanding and all that good stuff of a customer as I could be. And it was kind of cool because she started softening up too as the conversation went on, and eventually she was able to help me out, and so that was really awesome of her. And it was really cool because at first the conversation started off as awkward because she, it's her job to help me, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and even though I wasn't trying to be difficult, I was being difficult because of that. So then, and I'm sure she already had a million other people that were just like me and probably weren't the nicest people to her, so she kind of was on the defensive and being a little impatient and snappy, and the conversation started off that way. It was difficult, it was awkward, it was weird, but just through being just a good, kind, genuine human being, things were able to change pretty quickly. And by the end of the phone call, you could hear her smiles through her voice on the phone, which is really cool. And even she wished me, I can't speak, she wished me the best getting off the phone, and I said likewise to her, and it was a really cool experience. And that, I think, is kind of what's cool about doing this now, is that thinking about what I want to talk to you guys about. Thinking about what I want to talk to you guys about, it's making me be almost like hyper aware of everything that's going on around me, and also like in front of me, like directly, affecting me and getting involved with me. So it's cool. I'm a lot more aware of stuff that's going around, and I can find a lot more meaning in lessons and just I guess casual general wisdom in a way, which it's cool. And then I learn a little bit more, and then I get to share with you guys, which going back to the video is kind of this whole purpose. But it was a cool thing. And the moral of this second story, I'm not going to say I guess, but I guess, is that and I keep repeating myself, but our parents tell us all the time is like, kindness goes a long ways. And even if someone isn't necessarily being kind to you, you still have the power to be kind to them and have a positive impact on them, and change their current state, which I think is really cool. So I might expand on that a little more, but it reminds me of a third thing, and hopefully I'll have more to say after this because I'm still stuck in traffic. But this is kind of similar to the last story and moral of the story, which is the emphasis on just kindness no matter what, and how people can change very quickly for the better if you're just nice to them, and they can help you out a lot more, and that kind of stuff. So during the call, and again, this is story number 3, but it happened during story number 2, but during the call, the tech support lady asked me the name of who my manager was, because they need to know the name of my manager to help me with the whole process. And my manager has a name that is not very hard, but it's difficult to pronunciate for people who I don't know, have never had to do it before. I've never had to do it before, but he has one of those last names that can be difficult for people to pronounce the first time, and because of that, this little awkward of an experience. And he sits right next to me, so the tech support lady asked me what his last name was, and it was like a make it or break it moment. So I looked over at him and I said his last name, and he gave me a smile, and I was like, oh, I guess I said it right. So that happened, and then I continued with the call, and then I got off the call eventually, and I looked over at him and I asked, like, hey, like, did I pronounce your name right? Like, your last name right? And he goes, you said it perfectly. He said, you said it better than even I said it my first time saying it. And that was really cool. I'm reading a book right now, and one of the things in the book, one of the chapters is the power of doing super simple, small, kind gestures towards other people. And the main culprit of this chapter, in a good way, is remembering someone's name. The author of the book, tossed in a quote that I'm gonna totally butcher it, but the quote was like, someone's name is like the shining jewel of their life. It's like the thing that's uniquely theirs. And there's another quote that said something like, everyone's favorite word, like in the dictionary, is their name. And I think that's true, because whenever someone says your name, your eyes always kind of like light up in a way. So I kind of agree with that, and it was cool because, you know, even though my boss didn't directly say it to me, you know, there was that kind of exchange and a vibe of like an energy, if you want to call it that, of just more respect towards one another. You know, all because I did some due diligence to learn what his full name is, and honestly practice saying it in the mirror a few times. So then when the moment came, in that like make or break moment, to, you know, say his name, you know, right next to him, I was lucky enough to, you know, nail it, like hit the nail on the head. And because of that, he now has a higher admiration for me, and likewise to him. So it's cool how little stuff like that, with like human relations, how all that stuff works. So yeah, I guess moral of story number 3 is to remember people's names, because it really can help a lot in just developing very good relationships with people and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm out of traffic now and kind of running out of things to say again. But I also, you know, editing the video, that blowing noise in the background, it was kind of loud, I noticed. So I turned down my AC a little bit, so hopefully I'm not too much of a sweaty guy right now. I'm doing all right, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, the first video went how it went. I was really happy with how it came out, but there were like a couple of little things that I think I could have done better. You know, one was the phone being the other way, so that there's not like the black blocks on the side of the video on YouTube, which, sorry, that's going to be the same way this time, but hopefully I'll figure that out sometime soon. And also that blowing noise, I turned down the AC, so hopefully that won't be as bad. But yeah, I also have to stop for gas on the way home, so I'm going to have to cut the video out midway. So hopefully I'll have some time to regain my thoughts, so I'm not being all awkward for the last however many minutes of the ride. What else? Yeah, so I was kind of thinking, even like during the weekend too, like, oh my god, like what am I gonna talk to these guys about? You know, like trying to force like thoughts and ideas into my head, and I'm like jotting some stuff down of like what I could talk about, and then something like this with the dog happens today. I'm like, okay, well, now I know. As much as it sucked in the moment to not be able to find the dog and all that, I'm like, well, at least now I have something to talk about, right? And then, yeah, with that, you know, the whole tech support call happened, and the little, what's the word for it? The little nonverbal exchange in a way with my manager happened. And, you know, it kind of made me realize that, sorry, I'm concentrating again. Kind of made me realize that there's a lot of things in everyday life that you can learn from if you're aware to it. And what I like about this is that I'm learning kind of by coincidence to become hyper aware in a way. And again, it's cool because I get to share it with you guys, and then maybe you guys, and by that, at least one person, that's always the goal of all these videos, at least one person can start to, you know, behave the same way, like become hyper aware and appreciate all the things around them more, and learn from everything around them more. Because I think that that's a big part of this whole thing called life, is just always growing. Just always growing as a person, striving to be a better person, being very curious, but just always letting everything that happens to you, good and bad, be an opportunity to learn and become a better person. And that whole thing. So I had a thought that was kind of connected to it, and it just left my head. So hopefully I'll remember it in the next few seconds and not have some awkward silence. But we'll see. Concentrating a little bit right now. Again, doing a lot more concentration while driving than the last video, which isn't the worst thing possible. It means I'm probably not going to crash, right? So there's a positive. Yeah, I think kind of going back to what I was just saying before I was being awkward with you guys was, there's a quote, and I know I've dropped a lot of quotes and stuff, and there's plenty more coming, so get used to it, I guess. But there's a quote, and it goes, "You are where you are so that you may learn, so that you may grow." And I had to read it over a few times to actually understand what exactly was being said. But it relates a lot to what I was just talking about and ranting on about for a few minutes, was that every moment is, whether it's good or bad, you're always in that moment for a deeper reason, I guess. You're always being tested in a way, and how you handle every moment, good, or especially how you handle moments when they're bad, is how you know, like, whether you're moving up and again, I guess, leveling up in a way in life. Concentrating again. But yeah, you are where you are so that you may learn, so that you may grow. And you know, you can have these big goals. You should have these big goals and aspirations and dreams and ambitions in your life, and you should work towards them in some way every day. And again, every moment of your life, whether it's good or bad, how you react and how you handle those moments, it's like a self-check of whether, you know, you're oh my, I'm struggling here, whether you're growing or you're not ready yet to, I guess, move on and level up to the next part of your life, closer towards your goal. So yeah, I'm out of thoughts once again. I'm almost at the gas station, so once I get there, I'll stop the video, take a few deep breaths, and regain composure and have some new thoughts to expand on, hopefully. But yeah, I guess I'll let you think about this. I'll say it one more time. You are where you are so that you may learn, so that you may grow. To make it a little less awkward before I get to the gas station was the whole point and the whole lesson behind the first video was, you know, to not care about what people think, and to do what you want, and to try to live as much of your life in that way. I really can't talk today, but it was kind of crazy because I preached it for almost half an hour to you guys, but it was a little difficult for me, you know, having my immediate family, you know, learn that I was doing that. Again, it's not an easy thing to do, but you take some small baby steps every day, and then it gets better and better, and then before you know it, you don't notice it anymore. So I'm gonna pause it here. All right, and we're back. We're all gassed up now. My wallet hates me, but we're all gassed up now. And luckily I was able to catch a good thought during that short intermittence. I think that's the right word. But yeah, it kind of relates to what I tried communicating with you guys earlier, of just doing small, genuinely positive and kind things to other people, whether it be you know, smiling back and being pleasant to someone when they're not necessarily being pleasant to you, or going out of your way to remember someone's name and pronunciate it correctly. To what happened just now, to smiling and saying please and thank you to the gas station man. I think that, and this is kind of how I ended the last video, sort of, is that you never know how far simple acts of kindness will go. You know, whether it be smiling at someone, or saying hello or good morning, or like really small things, even like a please and a thank you. And of course you can build off that and go out of your way to start up a conversation with people and ask how their day was, or really just show any sort of genuine human interaction with someone. I think just doing very small things like that it kind of nurtures your own soul in a way, and it goes back to the very beginning too, with that whole balance, the whole dichotomy between paying attention and loving yourselves, and also paying attention to and loving others as well. Is, I think, at least for me, it always makes me feel good when I do those little things of kindness to other people, whether they be people I know, people I recognize, people I'm good friends with, or just complete strangers. Smile at someone, not in a creepy way, but smile at someone, toss them a wave. If you're walking past each other, say hello, good morning, how are you? Just little small things like that. You never know how far they'll go. You really don't. Someone could be having the worst day possible, and a simple smile, wave, and good morning could totally change their day, and potentially change your life too. You really never know how far such simple things like that can go for somebody. And the thing that makes it even better too is that, it's totally free. I mentioned it on Friday's video, but it doesn't cost you anything. There's no price to doing it. You lose nothing by doing it, right? It's totally free, and you never know how far it'll go. And there's a third point that I totally forgot about. So it looks like we're gonna have to be awkward for the next couple seconds if I can remember. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to remember, but hopefully you can kind of finish my own thought that I lost, because I'm getting pretty close to being home now. So if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. I'll try to have this YouTube video up by tonight, and who knows if I'll be able to get the TikTok in by then too, but if not tonight, I'll for sure do my best to have it up by tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for watching. We will talk soon. And yeah, be kind to a stranger today, I guess, is my challenge to you. So with that, talk soon.